Chapter 3. Are we still listening? I hope so. If you're enjoying, too. I had to go through a healing treatment considering how badly I had been drained by the Vampire Council's coven of women. Dr. Sean was explaining to me how they found me hidden in a small room. All the while, I considered who I have been connected to in the other realm. The room was actually a power generator for the Queen's control center. In the week following the Queen's death, they had attempted to find the room, but it was blocked from them. The only way they could have found it at all was the Queen's connection to the realm was gone. I knew if she had any aspects left, it was in the real world realm, so they set out to warn those in the real world zone. However, they had already gotten the word from my aspect there. That's when they realized we had the advantage. Despite the fact that Michelle had full disclosure of whom she was, many didn't believe she remained relatively safe. Even if the two of us had been bitten and drained in some sense of the word, we remained mostly untainted, thankfully. I know I was just plain tired of the whole mess. No matter what I did, it felt like it wasn't enough somehow. My main task seems to be battling vampires. Personally, I know I was told I have no choice as an angel but to love everyone. But honestly, I didn't want to love vampires. They'd only eat it and like my taste too. Even though I was disconnected soon after being attacked to the latest one who bit me, and was happy for it, I was annoyed too. Maybe it was just all getting to me. Time does funny things to folks. People change one way or another as life helps them realize the lessons. That essentially is the game, after all. Life. Moving on to the next stage is merely shifting with the flow. Now that the demons don't have a huge influence over the archangels, or me for that matter, I sense the difference. Of course, that is freaking out some, as if I was going to take power from them, or even channeling demons somehow. Am I good at all, or even trustworthy? A big part of me does say, if it bothers them, then it's their reflection and their own truth they see in me, and I am a mirror. Although I do wonder if how much of what they say is true. Someone, not sure who, did say that sending stuff back to the source did not send it to the being it originated from, but the creator's source, which is how the source itself got tainted. All in all, though, I personally doubted how much this actually meant. It sure seemed like I was just crazy to be me. I know others agreed as well. After a few cyber and psychic fights, a dark sadness sat in as I was transported back to the other realm. I was deep inside the old mountain cave I had been in so many times before. It was still to the point the air was thick and heavy. Suddenly the mountain rumbled and collapsed on top of me. Off to one side I could see Michael laying still, as if he was merely in a deep sleep. I could hear someone yelling in the distance for a full emergency red alert for angel help. However, I was buried underneath a ton of rock. My breaths barely came as I drifted between worlds. I could also tell that in the real realm, many also knew what was really wrong with me. As they battled in their own way, on their end, the angel soldiers unburied the other me. While I healed from the injuries and following seizure, my mind wandered. I had surrendered. I let the flames of justice burn within me. I shockingly channeled an anger of unequaled power, and it was all aimed at a woman this entity blamed for so much in the universe. It was calmed after by a second entity, however, the effect remained. I struggled for an answer once again, and in the morning was led to a calming video. Meanwhile, another psychic gave an answer to a tarot card pick question that I had posed. It was obvious that I am out of balance. I believe now that for whatever reason I pulled into me anger towards a perceived stress source. I had to, in a sense, destroy my reaction to this source. Calmed it, along with the images of flames purifying my inner self and my anger source. I disconnected from it as many ways as I could. The attacks continued in small ways until I basically gave up on most of all my tasks. I was left with little choice. It was either that or a nut ward or something. Besides, how am I to work when I am a complete mess? I fell asleep while upset and dreamt of the other realm life with some relief. Deep inside a mountain complex, I lay on a bed as my eyes took focus. I saw familiar faces across the fancy suite as I struggled to sit up. One man came over and fussed with me a bit, chatting away. His tear-streaked face made it difficult to look away. Finally, I heard him ask me where I got so beat up and whispered, "Vamp hunt. Big snake mix attacked. Then fell down shaft. Landed on boss. Killed another snake hurting boss." He called me love and asked where I had been as he wiped my face with a wet cloth. My answer certainly sent shockwaves through everyone listening. Reality world. Land of no magic. When someone made a comment about a name confusion, I recited a list of names I had used, adding to their energy surge. Admiral Shauna, Michaela, Angel, Raguel, Michelle, It was when the man next to me called me Sarah that I began freaking. I thrashed, and my heart sure felt like it was going to explode until my love grabbed a hold of me. He cradled me in his arms, tenderly reassuring me that no one wanted me dead. Then I heard someone confirming there was more than one yes. However, I was not the one I was thinking, thankfully. I sensed the difference around me as the others closed the curtain around the bed. In many ways, I knew the timeline had changed, but I wasn't prepared for my own rewards. I was myself in nearly every sense of the word, and had forgotten I was a queen that went missing. My cousin, Dr. Sean, had always called me Sis, which I remembered as he examined me. I had to tell them what I remembered of my injuries and what I had done so far by unlocking my personal diary files. I stared at my love as he walked around talking to the others that wandered in and out of the room. I couldn't help it as his body made mine tingle. Even as I eventually got up and walked around, I craved his presence. The two of us weren't an official couple, and were king and queen in their own rights. I knew the families were hoping for a merge between us. However, Mr. King Love was attempting to be old-fashioned and was just plain shy. It was sweet on one hand, but however, I was doing the same. Every time he touched me, every cell was lit up with a desire only my soul remembered. It was also something I never wanted to end. Problem was, it felt like a tease because a part of him was still in love with his ex, and that's what was holding him back. We shared a 2-room suite, lived as a royal couple. Everyone thought we were, and yet little did they know there was no couple. We lived like that for some time as I grew more and more aggravated.